I needed more time to play a relatively unknown RPG that I'm looking to review in upcoming weeks, so I decided to look at my NES collection to give me a reason to play an old 8-bit game and talk about it for a bit. You probably figured out by now that the game that I chose was Kid Niki Radical Ninja, an action game that plays a lot like the classic game Kung Fu. In Kid Niki's opening scene, you see a bird get struck by an arrow, with Niki himself then bursting through the wall, yelling, "We'll help you!" It kinda made me laugh the first time I saw it. Niki then proceeds to run through a few stages, swinging his sword around to slay anyone that gets in his way. Alright, first off, what kind of ninja school was this guy in? Niki swings his sword in a somewhat unorthodox fashion. Instead of just swinging it like a normal person, he twirls it around a few times in front of him. I mean, unusual, sure, but it's still effective, as he somehow does this without putting a few gashes in his own body. Even better, almost every enemy he strikes with this attack goes flying off the screen. Who knows where they land, but rest assured, it's probably far, far away from Niki. The big thing is that even though Niki is well versed in this odd technique, it's not foolproof. Due to the way he attacks when he comes up against a boss, he finds himself at a disadvantage. Whenever Niki strikes a boss with his sword, the weapon is deflected and is thrown to the side of the screen. Niki must run and reacquire the sword before any additional damage can be done to the boss. This means that boss fights can be a test of tactics. Do you make a mad dash for your weapon when you are disarmed, or wait for the most opportune time? You really need to be careful against the bosses too. The game starts off fairly easy enough, but you'll soon find out that the bosses can be quite formidable. Not because they are truly challenging, but more so because of terrible hit detection. You may be striking a foe no problem, but they touch even the empty space near Niki's body, and he will perish. This actually brings me to the biggest gripe about the game. Level 4. Up until this point, the game is a fair challenge level. Level 4 changes that. The first part of the stage isn't terrible. You finally get a new music tune as you romp through an icy cave, dodging cat bats and frogs that belch fire. But get to the second half of the stage, and the game's difficulty takes a major turn for the worst. I'm going to preface this by saying that Niki is supposed to be a ninja. So why in the hell does he die from bubbles? Yup, that's right. This is yet another game where the hero of the story dies from touching a simple, thin, fragile sphere of moisture. Even worse, that amazing technique that he uses to attack doesn't pop said bubbles. This is infuriating, because there is also no pattern to these bubbles. All you can do is wait for a pause, then leap onto the platform, and wait for the next platform to show its face. And if you think that the second platform is timed consistently, well, you have another thing coming. Way too many times I had to bail on where I was standing, but I thought, no big deal, the next piece of land should be rising out of the lake. Nope, I literally spent multiple hours trying to get past this stupid lake with its stupid bubbles and stupid non-rising platforms. And then when you finally get to the boss, you'll learn that it's actually kinda simple, except if you're not careful, it can kill you when you are clearly nowhere near its mouth. I've died in the air just because the creature was burrowing out of the ground from under me. Calling this infuriating is an understatement. There is a slight advantage that you can use though, but you need to know they exist. Secret rooms. There are certain areas of the game where you can perform a specific action and be taken to these hidden areas. These locations aren't completely safe though. There are frequently many power-ups in there, sure, but enemies exist in here too. Stage 4 thankfully has 2 of these secret areas. The first is found by jumping to the far left platform at the start of the level and crouching on the third stone for a few seconds, and it takes you to some weird insect nest where you can break eggs to reveal either grubs or power-ups. I highly recommend this area because extra lives seem to be plentiful in here, and you'll need them. There's also a very beneficial second area, just before the third bubble zone. Just jump on this platform 3 times and a fish appears. I thought this was just an Easter egg when I first found it, but according to a guide that I found on GameFAQs, you just fall in front of this fish and it'll allow you to bypass the remainder of the level, bringing you close to the boss, requiring only a few extra jumps with no more blasted bubbles. The funny thing is, level 5 is almost a step back in the difficulty department. Sure, you are bombarded by weird spinning blue creatures at the start, which took me far longer to figure out than I'd like to admit, but past that, you just run up against bees with spears and hostile monks. The boss, on the other hand, to this day I still can't defeat. He attacks by calling you a fool, with little hostile clouds falling from it. It's actually kinda cool to hear this digitized speech, even if it does sound a bit muffled. Then, he throws F-bombs at you. No, seriously, what else would you call this? He throws literal F-bombs at you. What a jerk! But yeah, these bombs seem to be in random patterns, and I just can't get past it. Even with these pain points, the game is still fun to play. Niki is a fairly large sprite, which seems kind of unheard of for the time, but his attack is versatile and quick enough that you should be able to take out most thugs without a sweat, even if they do assault you en masse. His jump is limited to one height, but it's enough to clear any platform. The only quirk to this is on moving platforms. It can be a bit iffy. There's been times I was on one of those accursed rising platforms in level 4 and hit jump, but because it's not smooth in movement, Niki stutters, making the jump requests ignored by the game and causing death. I will admit that the graphics and sound are hit or miss. The sprite detail is fantastic, with enemies often having plenty of colors on their larger bodies. The environment, though, either looks great or looks bland. Take level 5. The opening part of the stage is a lush bamboo forest, complete with an area that obscures Niki behind plenty of leaves. After this, though, you run through what appears to be a monastery. There are a few Buddha statues that look great, but the rest of the level looks bland in comparison. As I said, I can't complete this level, so I don't know what the rest of the game looks like. As for the music, it's chipper, it's upbeat, but it's way too short and repetitive. You get different tracks in the secret rooms and in level 4, as well as a nice boss theme that is appropriately dramatic in nature, but it's just not enough to make me not want to mute the game. Kid Niki Radical Ninja. I see no radicality, if that's even a word, in Niki's abilities, other than his sword techniques, but it's still a solid playing game, if not frustrating at parts. The first few stages lull you into a false sense of security, then the game kicks you from behind in level 4 and laughs at you. Even with that said, it's still enjoyable, and it's saying something that even with the terribly designed bubble area, I still kept at it to get further. This isn't going to be a game that I let sit on my shelf collecting dust. I'm determined to finish it and be a more radical ninja than Niki, but it may take some time. Final score, 5 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.